Do you think if I just did the whole video like this, the universe would implode? Infinite as hi everybody, as here from HeelvsBabyface. The most uncoincidental coincidence has just happened, has just manifested before our eyes. The World of Warcraft have announced that patch 8.2 will be arriving a week today for the America Shire, and it'll be coming out on the 26th for Europa Shire. Why is this an amazing coincidence? It's coming out a week before Final Fantasy XIV's brand new expansion, Shadowbringers, and technically 3 days before the early access for Shadowbringers begins, because that starts on Friday the 28th. Now, this is something that Blizzard constantly do. And I don't know, it's about 6 weeks ago, maybe a couple of months ago, I don't know. Mike at Bowler, he put out this tweet where he was trying to work out, he was doing this elaborate equation to kind of work out when he thought patch 8.2 would arrive. And then I just snarkily put below, I was like, when's Shadowbringers coming out? Something along those lines. My calculations didn't have to involve any of this, that, and the other. To me, it was just, when Shadowbringers coming out, it's going to come out a week or two before then. And that's the way it would obviously go, because they have a track record of doing this. They've done this with Final Fantasy before. They've done this with Guild Wars 2. They did it with, what was that game? It's dead now. WildStar. Oh my goodness me. Been and gone. WildStar. I think they released the alpha for Warlords of Draenor when that came out. I might be wrong, but I think it was that. But it's something that they constantly do. And hey, all the people that are shouting at your screen right now, well, that's just good marketing. Yeah, no, I totally agree. It is. It is when you are the top dog. When you are 10 million subscribers and nobody else can touch you, then yeah, you're just going to quash the competition every single time. I remember that I started to play a bit of WildStar, and then I got my invite to the alpha for Warlords of Draenor. I stopped playing WildStar, and you know what? I never went back. I got diverted because I was doing my Blizzard videos. Never went back to the game. So, you know, this is a tool that does work. However, times have changed. And World of Warcraft is no longer the behemoth that it used to be. It's no longer the bully that it used to be. And it was a bully. Why? Because, you know, they would put their product up against another to knock out competition. When it came to quarterly earnings reports, they would say how many subscribers they had. Why? It was a boast. I mean, make no bones about it. It was a boast. We have this many millions. We have that many millions. It was a great way of saying to the competition out there, our product is so far ahead of yours. And it was a great way, because it was an earnings report, to show the shareholders that there were so many people playing their product. That, however, changed when the subscriber numbers started to go into freefall. When the subscriber numbers started to go into freefall, suddenly Blizzard decided not to release subscriber numbers anymore. Oh, it's no longer relevant. It's no longer relevant, subscriber numbers. It's just about how much money the game makes. Because what the shareholder would see is a game that was losing millions of players. And so they nixed it. And I think the last ever official subscriber numbers we had was Warlords of Draenor, and it's about 5.5, 5.7, 5.3, something around that million players. But it was on a significant downturn. Now, we've played with trying to work out how many subscribers World of Warcraft has. Guesstimates put it around about 3.5 million, maybe 2.5 to 3.5. So I'm kind of going top end with the 3.5 million. But who knows? Because we do not have official figures. However, this is quite interesting because, number one, Warlords of Draenor sank World of Warcraft. It took it to depths it had never been to Never been to. And what was even worse is I think Warlords started with 10 million subscribers. I think it started right back up there. It got that new expansion boost to go right up to around about 10 million subscribers. And then it sank to depths we may never know unless somebody leaks out the numbers to what it went to. Legion did some repair work, absolutely. To start with, it seemed to be doing pretty well. But again, World of Warcraft seemed to hit that gear that they hit, and it just became very boring again. With just a few rays of sunshine. I went into it yesterday. Chromie, Mage Tower, but other than that, open world, Argus, Broken Shore, it's just boring stuff, non-engaging stuff that wasn't going down well, by the way, when it was released. It's amazing what rose-tinted specs do to some people. And then Battle for Azeroth, of course, has just been a turkey, an absolute turkey, gone down like a lead balloon. Final Fantasy XIV, however, came out at E3 last week. Yoshi P, game director, producer, I should really say, and said that going into Shadowbringers, there has been, they're at the biggest levels of interest in the game that they've ever had. And they are now boasting, without giving figures, but they're now boasting the highest number of subscribers they've ever had in Final Fantasy XIV. Now, the reason why this is rather significant is during Heavensward, which was the first expansion to come out for Final Fantasy XIV, followed by Stormblood that we have now, and Shadowbringers just coming. That raised the game to heights that it hadn't seen before. Although Realm Reborn had been critically well received and did have a great following that they were very happy with, Heavensward really ramped things up. And this was at a particular time when Warlords of Draenor was on the way down. So it's pretty easy to see what was happening. People were leaving the World of Warcraft and they were looking for a different home. And a lot of people found it in Heavensward. So suddenly you've got a rival MMORPG that is nicking your players. We know that Warlords sank to some ridiculously bad depths. And we know that Heavensward was approximately at around 1.5 to 2 million at its peak. Now, if it's above that, then we know at least that it's above 1.5 million subscribers that it has. And that's subscribers. He didn't say players, because you can play the game for free up to level 35, whatever job. You can do that right now. Download it. But subscribers. So people who are actually paying a subscription to do that. And the last time that we knew the Elder Scrolls Online released some figures about how many players the game had, bearing in mind that you can play that for free or subscribed, so it would incorporate both of those, it was around about the 2.5 million mark. So suddenly, the behemoth of the World of Warcraft is in and around just these games. Never mind, what other MMOs are doing and chipping away at people. Star Wars The Old Republic's probably chipping away at a few. Guild Wars 2's chipping away at a few. Bless. No, it isn't. Black Desert Online, that's going to be chipping away at through. Everyone seems to be chipping away at various pieces of the World of Warcraft's subscription base. So the question is, who's going to win? Is 8.2 going to be substantial enough to actually say, hey, I'm going to leave Shadowbringers to one side and I'm actually going to focus my attention on 8.2? Or if your mind is set, I'm so excited for the release of the brand new Final Fantasy expansion Shadowbringers, 8.2 ain't going to turn my head. I think, this is just my subjective opinion, but I think people who are playing the World of Warcraft right now are going to play 8.2, no problem. People who aren't playing Final Fantasy XIV and who aren't playing the World of Warcraft, it might snag some of those players. But I think Battle for Azeroth has, like Heavensward did before it, has pulled former WoW players to the game. And I think on a more permanent basis, as in, they're now seeing Final Fantasy XIV as their new home. I'm not saying that 8.2 hasn't got any good stuff in it. I've played a small portion of 8.2, and I've got to say it didn't grab me particularly. But what I can say for absolute certainty is I won't be resubscribing to WoW just yet. This is not the point for me to resubscribe. This is not the point for me to start giving Blizzard my money again. Why? I'm too excited for Shadowbringers. There's too much good stuff which has been announced by Yoshi P. There's too much excitement around this expansion, the idea surrounding it, the Warrior of Light becoming the Warrior of Darkness, all this gubbins, the what's going to happen with your professions, etc., 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 all the other stuff, the class changes, all of these things which they are bringing into this expansion. It's too much. It's too tantalizing for me. I can't turn it down. So if I was to resubscribe to the World of Warcraft right now, I'm throwing away money. Because 3 days later, I'm going to be hitting that early access, and that's going to be me for the next goodness knows how long. Until, I give it a little bit of a break, then maybe I subscribe to the World of Warcraft 2, 3 months, 4 months, 5 down the line. And because there hasn't been particularly any hype or advertising or kind of like marketing around patch 8.2 in terms of when it's going to come out, I think people have been starved of content for so long and have stopped subscribing to the World of Warcraft. I think there's probably a lot of people who might have actually disconnected from it as well. And aren't necessarily going to return in that aspect. Not saying they're going to Final Fantasy either. I'm just saying that they're done. They're done, and they're on to other things. They're playing Fortnite and Apex Legends. But no, they've found something else to do with their time now. They've managed to detach themselves from WoW. This is an old school move by the World of Warcraft, and absolutely next Tuesday there'll be a lot of people on Twitch playing it, and there'll be a lot of people watching the release of it. But that's it. Is it people watching, or is it people playing? Or is it people who are going to have the same mentality as myself? Yeah, I might check out 8.2 at some point, but right now, it's not worth giving my money to, because it's just going to go to waste, because 3 days later, or a week later if you don't have early access, you're just going to be on the brand new Final Fantasy XIV expansion. We knew this would happen. It was obvious that this was going to happen. But we're now seeing an MMORPG where the majority of its hype now is surrounding its 15-year-old version with Classic. So it's taken its current expansion, which has no hype, and it's going up against an MMORPG that is at the best it has ever been moving into Shadowbringers. And if the word comes out from early access or from next week when the expansion releases that this is really good stuff, 8.2 might find itself dropping off. When I say dropping off, I mean people playing a lot quicker than it hopes. Or it might do wonderfully and blow Final Fantasy XIV out the water. I just don't see that happening. I think there is too much hype surrounding this new expansion, Shadowbringers, and I just don't see the hype in any direction. Even from the WoW content creators that still do stuff, there seems to be and I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, but there seems to be an exaggerated attempt to make things appear more interesting than they potentially are. So, in the comment section down below, go for it. WoW versus Final Fantasy XIV. Winner. Tell me. I'd like to see it. I'm going to go through it. I'd like to see what the ratio is. And it'd be interesting to see what it could be. It could be WoW blowing them out the water. It could be Final Fantasy blowing them out the water. It might be very even. But I'd be very interested. So WoW versus Final Fantasy. Tell me. Tell me everything. So I hope you enjoyed the vid. If you did, do get a thumbs up. And also subscribe to the channel. Follow me on social media. And Twitch for live streaming. Links there in the description box down below. And I'll be back with some more stuff very soon. You take care. Bye for now.